You are not in control. You think you are, but you are not. You believe the person listening to these words, the mind thinking your thoughts, the personality you present to the world, is the one making the decisions. You believe you are the master of your own life. This is the single greatest illusion you have. You are a marionette, a puppet on invisible strings, and the puppeteer is your own mind, your own conditioning, your unexamined, impulsive, and instantaneous reaction. You are living at the mercy of external events. A critical email from your boss, and your heart hammers. A careless comment from your partner, and your stomach twists. A stranger cuts you off in traffic, and a hot red wave of anger floods your system, hijacking your voice and your reason. In that moment, you are not free. You are a biological machine running a predictable, primitive script. You are a slave to the stimulus. This audiobook is the tool you will use to cut those strings. It is a declaration of war against that impulsive, reactive self. It is a manual for reclaiming your power, your dignity, and your free will. This is not a collection of gentle suggestions. It is a structured, disciplined path to emotional sovereignty. We are here to dismantle the prison you have been living in. The irony, of course, is that it is a prison of your own making, and you are the one who holds the key. What is reactivity? It is the enemy of progress. It is the arsonist of opportunity. It is the assassin of relationships. Reactivity is the immediate, unthinking emotional explosion that happens before your conscious mind has a chance to intervene. It is the send button on the angry email. It is the sarcastic, wounding reply that leaps from your mouth. It is the sullen, defensive silence you use as a weapon. It feels powerful in the moment. It feels like a release. It feels, perhaps, like you are standing up for yourself. But what happens 1 minute later? What happens 1 hour later? What happens when you are lying in bed at midnight staring at the scene over and over? The cold, heavy wave of regret. The hollow ache of self-betrayal. The shame. You betrayed your own values. You became the person you do not want to be. You gave your power away to the most trivial of triggers. You let another person or another circumstance dictate your behavior and your emotional state. This is the price you pay for the brief, unsatisfying spark of a reaction, and you pay it every single day. How much has this cost you? Let's be specific. Think about the professional cost. The promotion you were passed over for because you were seen as volatile or unpredictable. The feedback you couldn't handle. The meeting where you lost your composure and, in doing so, lost the respect of the room. The ideas you have, the talent you possess, all of it is held captive, overshadowed by your inability to remain centered under pressure. Think about the personal cost, the relationships you have sabotaged, the people you have pushed away, the trust you have broken. The ones you love now walk on eggshells around you, afraid to trigger an outburst, and that fear has created a distance that you can feel but cannot name. You have built a fortress of defensiveness, and now you are trapped, lonely, inside of it. And finally, think of the internal cost, the most devastating cost of all. The cost to your self-respect. You cannot trust yourself. You wake up in the morning and promise yourself today will be different, only to be hijacked by the same old triggers by 10 a.m. You feel weak. You feel out of control. You feel like a fraud. This audiobook is built on a single fundamental distinction, the difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is impulsive, it is primal, it is defensive, it is rooted in the past, in your old wounds and your conditioned fears. It is fast, hot, and unconscious. It is the domain of the lizard brain, the amygdala, the part of you that only knows how to fight, flee, or freeze. A response is deliberate, it is conscious, it is constructive. It is rooted in the present, in your values, your logic, and your long-term goals. It is slow, cool, and considered. It is the domain of your higher self, the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that knows who you want to be. The entire path to maturity, to wisdom, and to power lies in the gap between the two. Right now, that gap in your life is non-existent. The stimulus happens and the reaction is instantaneous. There is no space, there is no choice. The purpose of our work together is to create that space. We will not be engaging in suppression. Let me be clear, this is not about becoming a cold, emotionless robot. It is not about pretending you do not feel. The world has confused being emotional with being uncontrolled. It has confused passion with reactivity. It has championed a toxic idea of authenticity, which is often just an excuse to be undisciplined. "I'm just being real," people say, as they set fire to their own lives and the lives of others. That is not authenticity. It is immaturity. True emotional power is not the absence of feeling. It is the mastery of feeling. It is the ability to feel a powerful emotion, anger, fear, jealousy, frustration, to feel it completely, to hold it, observe it, and then to choose what to do with it. It is the ability to stand in the heart of an emotional storm and be the calm, unmoving center. This is the power of not reacting. It is the power to absorb a personal attack and meet it with quiet strength, not a defensive counterattack. It is the power to receive harsh criticism, extract the single piece of value, and discard the rest without your ego collapsing. It is the power to sit in profound discomfort, to tolerate ambiguity, to hold your tongue, and to wait. This is not a passive power. It is the most active and dominant force in the universe. It is the power of the person who cannot be provoked, the person who cannot be manipulated, the person who cannot be pulled from their center. When you are that person, you are unshakable. You become the leader. You become the negotiator. You become the parent, the partner, and the friend that others can rely on. You become the architect of your life, not the victim of your circumstances. So, what is our plan? How do we get there? This journey is a structured one. We are not just discussing a concept. We are building a new human being. This is not an easy path. It will require you to confront the parts of yourself you have been avoiding. It will demand awareness. It will demand discipline. It will demand that you take 100% responsibility for your own emotional state, perhaps for the first time in your life. But the reward is total freedom. The reward is a life lived on your terms, guided by your values, not your impulses. The reward is a quiet mind. The reward is the profound, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing that, no matter what the world throws at you, you will not be broken. You will not be triggered. You will not be controlled. The person who started this audiobook is not the person who will finish it. The power is not in the event. The power is in you. It is time to claim it. The journey begins now. Who is in charge of your life? It is a simple question, and you, of course, have a simple answer. I am. You are the one who decided to listen to this audiobook. You are the one who holds a job, manages relationships, and makes 1,000 choices every single day. You are the one who woke up this morning and set an intention for the day. Perhaps you decided to be more patient, to eat better, to be more productive, to be less angry. Your intention was clear. You were the one in charge. And then you checked your phone. Before your feet even hit the floor, you saw an email from a client. The tone was demanding. You felt a familiar hot twist in your stomach. Your intention to be patient was forgotten. You were now defensive. You went to the kitchen. A family member made a careless comment. They did not mean anything by it, but it grazed an old wound. You replied with a sharp, sarcastic edge. Your intention to be kind was gone. You were now irritated. You got in your car. Someone in traffic moved too slowly or too quickly. You felt a surge of adrenaline, a tightness in your chest. You called them an idiot, perhaps under your breath, perhaps out loud. Your intention to be calm was evaporated. You are now enraged. It is not even 9 a.m., and your entire emotional, psychological, and even physical state has been dictated from moment to moment by forces outside of your control. So I will ask you again, who is in charge of your life? The truth is that you are living as a marionette. You are a puppet, and your strings are being pulled by every minor event, every careless word, every trivial inconvenience. You are not living your life, you are being lived by it. You are not the master of your day, you are the victim of your inbox. You are living in a constant, exhausting, and unconscious state of reaction. This is the central problem of your life. It is the invisible architecture of your failures. It is the secret reason your relationships crumble, your career stalls, and your self-respect erodes. You have the intelligence, you have the ambition, you have the talent, but you are, in the moments that matter, a slave to your own impulses. Our work begins by making this slave-master relationship visible. We are here to see, for the first time, the strings that control you. The most important distinction we will ever make, the one that serves as the foundation for all the work that follows, is this: the difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is a discharge. It is an explosion. It is a biological, emotional, and psychological reflex that happens to you. It is unconscious. It is fast. It is a landmine buried in your psyche. The person who triggers you is not the source of the explosion. They are merely the person who took the unlucky step. The bomb was already yours. It was built from your past wounds, your insecurities, your fears, and your unexamined beliefs. When you react, you are confessing. You are confessing, I am not in control. You are confessing, my ego is so fragile that your words can shatter it. You are confessing, you have the power to determine my mood. A reaction is rooted in the past. It is an old pattern, a deep groove worn into your personality by habit, by trauma, by conditioning. It is the child in you, the wounded animal in you, that leaps forward to protect you, but in reality, it only ever makes the wound deeper. A reaction is about defense. It is about a perceived need to be right, to be safe, to be justified. It is, in a word, survival. A response, on the other hand, is a choice. It is a conscious, deliberate, and considered act. It does not come from the animal brain. It comes from the higher, executive mind. It is slow. It is cool. It is rooted in the present moment and aimed at a future goal. A response is not about defense. It is about effectiveness. It is not about being right. It is about getting it right. A reaction is a mirror. It simply reflects the energy thrown at you. You are shouted at, you shout back. You are criticized, you become defensive. You are insulted, you feel shame. A response is a thermostat. It feels the temperature in the room. It acknowledges the anger, the criticism, the insult. It does not deny the feeling, but then it consults a program. That program is your values, your goals, your principles, and it makes a deliberate, mechanical choice to set the temperature, not just reflect it. It chooses to de-escalate. It chooses to ask a question. It chooses to find clarity. It chooses, often, to do nothing at all. A person who lives in reaction is a victim of the world. They are chaotic, unpredictable, and ultimately weak. They believe their temporary, explosive outbursts are a sign of strength. They are not. They are a sign of profound vulnerability. A person who lives in response is an architect of their world. They are calm, predictable, and powerful. They are the person who can absorb the chaos of a meeting, the panic of a crisis, or the vitriol of an argument and hold their center. They are not emotionless. They feel the same things you feel. They feel the surge of anger. They feel the sting of shame. They feel the twist of fear. The difference is they do not obey. They do not take their marching orders from their feelings. They observe the feeling, they acknowledge it, and then they choose. This is the freedom you are seeking. This is the power you have abdicated. Where do these strings, these reactions come from? They are not random. They are carefully manufactured, often from a very young age. We learn them through imitation. We watch the adults in our lives react. We watch them slam doors, use a sarcastic tone, or retreat into wounded silence. We learned that this is how one handles conflict. We learned that this is what it means to be an adult. We absorbed these patterns and we carry them with us. We learned them through experience. The first time we were truly vulnerable and got hurt, we built a wall. That wall became a reaction. The first time we were publicly shamed, we built a defensive script. That script became a reaction. These reactions are scars. They are the fossilized, outdated defense mechanisms of a person who no longer exists, yet they are still running your life. And we learn them most powerfully from the ego. The ego is the part of you that identifies as I. It is the sense of self. And its primary job is survival. It needs to be right. It needs to be seen as good, as smart, as capable. Any piece of information that contradicts this self-image, a piece of criticism, a person ignoring you, a failure, is perceived as a mortal threat. Your ego is the puppet master. It is the one that pulls the strings of anger when you are cut off in traffic because that person disrespected me. It is the one that pulls the strings of defensiveness when you are criticized at work because they are saying, I am not good enough. Almost every single one of your destructive, impulsive, and regrettable reactions is an ego defense program. It is the desperate, terrified, and ultimately fragile part of you trying to protect an image of itself that it knows deep down is not real. This is why we feel shame after an outburst. It is the real you, the higher self, the observer, waking up and seeing the wreckage. It is the conscious part of you looking at the puppet lying in a tangled heap on the floor and saying, that is not who I am, and it is right. So what is the first step? It is not to change. It is not to fight. It is not to fix yourself. The first step is to see. You cannot cut strings you are not aware of. For the next few days, your only job is to become a detective of your own mind. You must become the observer self. This is the part of your consciousness that can stand back and watch you thinking, watch you feeling, and watch you reacting. When you're in a meeting and someone says something that makes you angry, your job is not to not be angry. Your job is to simply notice. There, that is it. That is the feeling. My chest is tightening. My face is hot. I want to interrupt them. I am now reacting. When you are with your family and you feel that familiar spike of irritation, just observe it. There it is, the old story. I feel unheard. I am now pulling away. I am now using a sarcastic tone. I am reacting. Do not judge it. Do not try to stop it. Just watch it. Be fascinated by it. Be curious about the mechanics of your own prison. This is the most difficult work you will ever do, and it is the only work that matters. This is the act of bringing the unconscious into the light of consciousness. This observer is the real you. The anger, the fear, the defensiveness, those are just weather patterns passing through. You are the sky. You are the awareness in which the storm happens. By simply observing your reactions without judgment, you are performing a profound alchemy. You are creating a separation. You are, for the first time, inserting a tiny sliver of space between the stimulus and the reaction. Right now, they are fused together. The string is pulled, the arm moves. They are one and the same. Our goal is to create a gap. And in that gap, in that moment of stillness between the world happening to you and you choosing what to do about it, lies your entire freedom. Your life is a series of moments. In each moment, you have a choice. Right now, that choice is being made for you by your past, your fears, and your ego. A reaction is a confession. It confesses what you fear, what you value, and who controls you. A response is a declaration. It declares who you choose to be. Starting now, we learn to declare. Why does this happen? Why do you, a rational, intelligent, modern human being, lose control? Why does the intention you set in the morning, to be calm, to be patient, shatter into 1,000 pieces before you've even finished your first cup of coffee? You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not, in your essence, an angry or a fearful person. What you are is hijacked. The problem is not in your character. It is in your wiring. The systems that are sabotaging your life today are the very same systems that kept your ancestors alive for 100,000 years. You are not failing at being a modern person. You are succeeding spectacularly at being a very ancient animal. To understand your reactivity, you must stop looking at your habits and start looking at your biology. You must understand the mechanism beneath the behavior. You have, inside your brain, a primal alarm. This alarm is not rational. It is not logical. It does not speak your language, and it does not care about your career goals. It has only one job: to keep you alive. It is the oldest, most powerful, and most primitive part of your mind. In the center of your brain, in the limbic system, sits a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons called the amygdala. This is not the thinking part of your brain. This is the danger part. Think of it as a smoke detector. It is not sophisticated. It cannot tell the difference between a piece of burnt toast and a house fire. All it can do is sense something, a potential threat, and pull the big red lever that sounds the full body alarm. This is the fight or flight response. And this process, this amygdala hijack, is the biological source of every single one of your destructive reactions. Let's trace the circuit. A stimulus occurs. A car horn blares. Your name is spoken in a sharp, critical tone. You read a text message that says, "We need to talk." In less than a 50th of a second, before your conscious thinking brain has even had a chance to read the rest of the text, that information has already reached your amygdala. The amygdala scans this data and compares it to a vast, primitive database of past threats. That critical tone sounds like the one your parent used before they punished you. That silence on the other end of the phone feels like the silence you experienced when you were abandoned. That look from your boss matches a pattern you've associated with public humiliation. It does not matter if the threat is real, it only matters if it is perceived. And in that instant, the amygdala screams, "Threat!" The alarm is pulled. What happens next is a chemical and physiological cascade so powerful it beggars belief. You are, in effect, a different human being. First, the amygdala bypasses your rational brain. It sends a distress signal directly to your hypothalamus, which acts as your body's command center. The command center, in a state of panic, flips the switch on your sympathetic nervous system. This is the gas pedal. Your adrenal glands, sitting on top of your kidneys, are instantly flooded with orders. They begin to pump adrenaline, epinephrine, and cortisol into your bloodstream. These are not feeling hormones. They are survival hormones. They are rocket fuel. Your heart rate explodes, hammering against your ribs. Why? To pump that hormone-rich blood to the muscles you will need. Your breathing becomes fast and shallow, pulling in maximum oxygen. Why? To feed the fire in your muscles. Blood is physically rerouted. It is pulled away from your digestive system. You don't need to digest lunch when you're being chased by a lion. It is pulled away from your immune system. And most critically, it is pulled away from your prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the you identify with. It is your executive function, your logic, your empathy, your impulse control, your ability to see long-term consequences. It is the CEO of your brain. And in an amygdala hijack, the CEO is taken offline. The blood is instead sent to your limbs, your arms, your legs. Why? To fight harder, to run faster. Your pupils dilate to let in more light. Your perception narrows. You are no longer in a conference room. You are on a battlefield. You are no longer having a discussion. You are in a fight to the death. Your entire system, a magnificent and ancient piece of evolutionary engineering, has prepared you to do one of two things: kill or run. And then you look up from your phone, and you are just sitting at your desk. There is no lion. There is no attacker. There is only an email. There is only a comment. There is only a psychological, social, or emotional threat that your ancient wiring has misinterpreted as a mortal one. You are a Formula One car, redlining at 200 miles per hour with nowhere to go. This is the biological mismatch that is ruining your life. Your alarm system, designed for an environment of acute physical danger, is being triggered 10, 20, 30 times a day by an environment of chronic psychological stress. And what do you do with that tidal wave of adrenaline and cortisol? What do you do with a body that is screaming fight? You type. You type the email bag, the one with the "per my last message" or the "as you should know." Your words become your fists. You speak. You use the sarcastic tone, the raised voice, the cutting remark. Your voice becomes your weapon. Or you flee. You withdraw. You go silent. You become cold and defensive. You build a wall. You are running away emotionally from the threat. This is reactivity. It is not a choice. It is a physiological event. You are not choosing to be angry. You are experiencing a body flooded with anger's chemical signature. You are not deciding to be defensive. You are obeying a billion-year-old script that says, defend or die. You must stop blaming yourself for this. This is not a personal failing. It is a biological feature. You cannot will your heart to stop beating. You cannot will your glands to stop producing hormones. You cannot logic your way out of a hijack once it is already in progress, because the very part of your brain that creates logic is offline. This is why, after an outburst, you wake up. An hour later, the cortisol and adrenaline have metabolized. The blood returns to your prefrontal cortex. The CEO is back in the building. And you look at the wreckage. You read the email you sent. You replay the words you spoke. And you think, who was that? That wasn't me. You are correct. It wasn't. It was your primal alarm. It was the security guard who locked the CEO in a closet and tried to fly the plane. This is the state you are living in. You are chronically activated. You are jumping from one low-level hijack to the next. Your baseline is not calm. Your baseline is on guard. You are so accustomed to the feeling of tension in your shoulders, of a tight jaw, of a shallow breath, that you have come to believe this is just who you are. It is not. It is the physical residue of an alarm that is never, ever turned off. This chronic activation is catastrophic. The constant bath of cortisol is eroding your body. It is destroying your memory because your brain is too busy scanning for threats to form new pathways. It is reckoning your sleep. It is making you physically, emotionally, and mentally sick. You are a soldier, stuck in a war that ended long ago, still diving for cover at the sound of a car backfiring. So this is the why. This is the engine of your self-sabotage. The first step in Chapter 1 was to see the strings. To see that you are a marionette. This step is to see the mechanism, to understand why the strings are pulled. They are pulled by a primitive, powerful, and well-meaning security guard who is trying to save your life, but who is hopelessly out of date. The problem, then, is not that you have an alarm. The alarm is good. You want it to work if you step out into traffic or if you are in real danger. The problem is that you have identified with the alarm. You believe the alarm is you. When the alarm bell rings, you believe it is the only sound in the universe. Our work from this point forward is not to destroy the alarm. It is not to suppress your feelings or get rid of your anger. That is impossible, and it is not even desirable. Our work is to retrain the alarm. It is to disarm the false ones. It is to teach the security guard, the amygdala, that an email is not a lion. It is to teach it to stop pulling the big red lever for every social inconvenience. How do we do this? We must first understand the full scope of the damage. We must understand in precise, painful detail what this current arrangement is costing us. We cannot build the will to change until the cost of not changing is made unbearable. This is the why. This is the bad news. This is the truth of your biology. But it is also the good news. Because this system is not you, it can be observed. If it can be observed, it can be managed. If it can be managed, it can be mastered. You are not the alarm. You are the one who hears it. And it is time to teach you how to respond to the sound without becoming the sound itself. Do you believe you get away with it? Do you believe that your reactions, the small ones, the justified ones, are free? Do you believe that the angry email you sent, the sarcastic shutdown of a loved one, the sullen mood you inflicted on your family? Do you believe that once the moment has passed, the cost has been erased? This is the great, comforting lie of the reactive mind. It wasn't a big deal. They deserved it. I just blew off steam. There is no such thing as blowing off steam. There is only setting a fire. And you are standing in the center of a life that is slowly or perhaps quickly burning to the ground. You have been paying a price for every single impulsive reaction every day of your adult life. You have been paying it in the currency of your relationships, your career, your health, and your self-respect. The problem is that the bill is cumulative. It arrives slowly, in small, almost unnoticeable increments. It is death by 1,000 cuts. You do not notice the damage until the structure is already compromised. You do not realize the relationship is lost until the final, definitive goodbye. You do not realize the job is gone until you are walking out with a box. We have identified the what, the marionette strings. We have identified the why, the primal alarm. Now we must face the so what. Before we can learn how to change, we must build an unshakable, non-negotiable reason to change. We must build a leverage so powerful that when the old, comfortable, addictive habit of reactivity calls to you, your why for resisting it is louder. To do that, we must take a full, sober, and courageous inventory of the damage. We must look, without flinching, at the true cost of these sparks. This is the chapter where we hold your life up to the light. This is not to shame you. Shame is a reactive emotion, and it is useless. This is to motivate you. We are here to create a conscious, logical pain so profound that it finally overrides the unconscious, impulsive pain that is currently running your life. Let us begin with the most obvious, your relationships. Human connection is built on a single, fragile foundation: emotional safety. The feeling that I can be my full self with you and I will not be attacked. The feeling that I can be vulnerable and I will not be judged. The feeling that I can make a mistake and I will be met with curiosity, not condemnation. Every time you react, you are a vandal. You are taking a hammer to that foundation. When your partner comes to you with a concern and you meet them with defensiveness, you have just taught them, "It is not safe to be honest with me." The next time, they will not come to you. They will go silent, or they will go to someone else. When your child makes a mistake and, in a moment of frustration, you respond with a raised voice or a sharp, critical name, you have just taught them, "My parents' love is conditional and can be withdrawn at any second." You have taught them to lie. You have taught them to hide their true selves from you to avoid the spark. When your friend is struggling and you, uncomfortable with their messy emotions, hijack the conversation to talk about your own problems or offer unsolicited, aggressive advice, you have taught them, You are not a safe harbor. You are only interested in yourself. You are, with every outburst, training the people you love. You are training them to keep their distance. You are training them to build walls around themselves to protect them from you. You sit and wonder why you feel disconnected. You complain that people don't understand you or that you feel lonely in your own home. You are not lonely. You are a threat. You have made emotional safety impossible. The spark of your momentary, justified anger has created a cold, dead space around you. People do not walk on eggshells because they are weak. They walk on eggshells because you are unsafe. This is the price. The satisfaction of being right in the moment for the cost of true intimacy forever. Is it worth it? Now, let us look at your career. The professional world, despite what you may believe, is not a meritocracy. It is not just about who is the smartest, or who has the best ideas, or who works the hardest. It is a game of influence. And influence is given, not to the most volatile, but to the most stable. Power does not flow to the person who yells the loudest. It flows to the person who remains the calmest. It flows to the person who can absorb pressure, who can handle bad news, and who can make a rational decision while everyone else is in a state of hijack. Every time you lose your composure in a meeting, you are not seen as passionate. You are seen as a liability. Every time you send that passive-aggressive email, you are not seen as clever. You are seen as childish. Every time you cannot receive a piece of constructive feedback without becoming defensive or sullen, you are not seen as confident. You are seen as fragile. And fragile people do not get put in charge. You are building a reputation, one reaction at a time. That reputation is resealing. You have hit a plateau in your career, haven't you? You see people with less talent, less intelligence, get the promotions, get the opportunities, get the interesting projects, and it makes you angry. You are more reactive. You are blind to the truth. They are not being promoted because they are better. They are being promoted because they are more predictable. Because the CEO can put them in a high-stakes room with a difficult client and know they will not set the relationship on fire. They can't trust you. Your reactivity is a neon sign above your head that flashes unreliable. Do not promote. Do not trust with anything important. Your inability to control your own emotional state is the single greatest bottleneck to your professional potential. You are sabotaging your own success day after day, and then blaming the system for holding you back. The spark of your righteous indignation, your need to prove a point, has cost you respect. It has cost you income. It has cost you, quite literally, the future you claim to want. And now we must look at the most intimate cost, the internal cost. What is the price you pay inside your own skin? You have no peace. Your mind is an exhausting and hostile place to live. It is a minefield, and you are both the soldier and the one who planted the mines. You are in a constant state of internal warfare. You are at war with traffic, at war with your colleagues, at war with your family, and at war with your own inner critic. You are tired, are you not? You are exhausted, not just physically, a deep, soul-level exhaustion. It is the exhaustion of being constantly on guard. It is the exhaustion of the chronic, low-level adrenaline and cortisol drip was discussed. Your nervous system is frayed, burnt out from being in a perpetual state of fight or flight. This is the source of your anxiety. This is the source of your bad sleep. This is the source of that humming, vibrating tension that you carry in your shoulders and your jaw, the tension that never, ever goes away. But the most profound price you pay is this. You have no self-respect. You cannot trust yourself. You are the one person you are stuck with forever, and you have proven time and time again that you are not a reliable partner. You make a promise to yourself in the morning, and you break it by lunchtime. You betray your own values, your value of kindness, of patience, of professionalism, for the cheap, immediate hit of a reaction. And then, in the quiet moments, when the hijack is over, the shame sets in. It is a hollow, sick feeling in your stomach. It is the voice that whispers, "You did it again. You are weak. You are a fraud." This is the true, hidden cost of the spark. It is not what you do to others. It is what you do to yourself. You are eroding your own identity. You are chipping away at your own character. With every reaction, you are proving to yourself, on a subconscious level, that you are not in control. And so, you live with a fundamental lack of integrity. Not integrity in the sense of lying to others, but in the sense of disintegration. Yourself is split in two. There is the you who wants to be good, and the you who is a slave to the hijack. And the hijack is winning. The price of the spark is your relationships, your career, your health, and the core of your self-worth. You are trading everything that matters for nothing that does. You are trading the chance for a lifetime of love for the 3-second win of a sarcastic comment. You are trading a future of leadership and respect for the momentary relief of an angry email. You are trading a quiet mind and a night of peaceful sleep for the justification of being angry at a stranger in traffic. This is the bargain you are making. It is the worst bargain in human history. And you are making it every single day, for free. So, we stand here, at the edge of a choice. We have looked at the cost. We have turned the lights on and examined the full scope of the wreckage. Good. Be angry. But for the first time in your life, let's aim that anger at the right target. Do not be angry at the person who triggered you. Be angry at the reaction. Be angry at the habit. Be angry at the strings that pull you. Be angry at the cost. Let this be the moment you finally see the spark for what it is. It is not a show of strength. It is not a release of pressure. It is not you being authentic. It is a poison, and it is time to stop drinking it. The motivation is now clear. The cost of remaining the same is quite simply your entire life. The cost of changing is a temporary, intense discomfort. We are now ready to choose that discomfort. We are now ready to do the work, because we now know without a shadow of a doubt that the pain of discipline is infinitely lighter than the pain of regret. What if you had a superpower? Not the power to fly, or to be invisible, or to turn back time. A real practical power. The power to stop the world. The power to freeze a moment just for a second right before it all goes wrong. The power to halt the bullet in midair. This power exists. It is not science fiction. It is the single most important skill of a conscious and effective human being. It is the ability to create, on demand, a single, deliberate pause. This is the power we are here to build. We have named it the space between. It is the space between the stimulus and the reaction. It is the gap, the void, the sliver of silence that lives between the world hitting you and you hitting back. Right now in your life, that space does not exist. It is a microscopic crack, so small you don't even know it's there. The stimulus and the reaction are fused. They are, for all practical purposes, a single event. The phone buzzes, the anger fires. The comment is made, the defense is launched. The button is pushed, the explosion happens. You are living a life of instant, unconscious fusion. This one chapter is the pivot on which your entire life will turn. The tools we build here are the foundation for everything that follows. We are moving from the why to the how. We are shifting from being the patient to being the physician. We are no longer just diagnosing the problem. We are, right now, beginning the cure. The cure is the pause. Why is this space so critical? Because nothing good happens fast. Your primal alarm, as we discussed, is blindingly fast. It has to be to save you from a lion. But your wisdom, your logic, your compassion, your long-term strategy, they are slow. Your higher self, the CEO of your brain, needs time to come online. It needs time for the blood to return from the limbs. It needs time for the adrenaline to subside. It needs time to think. Your reactivity is a sprint. Your wisdom is a marathon. You have been letting the sprinter make all your life-altering decisions. The space between is a conscious, disciplined, and sometimes brutally difficult act of buying time for your wiser self to get to the meeting. If you can create 1 second of space, you can create 2. If you can create 2, you can create 5. And in those 5 seconds, the entire world changes. In those 5 seconds, the hijack begins to fade. In those 5 seconds, the prefrontal cortex flickers back to life. In those 5 seconds, choice is born. Without this space, you have no choice. You are simply a machine running a program. With this space, you have every choice. So how do we build it? We are not going to think our way into it. You cannot think your way out of a hijack. You cannot reason with the alarm. We are going to build it physically. We are going to use the body to reclaim the mind. The first tool is the most powerful and the most simple. It is the anchor. The anchor is your breath. This is not a mystical or New Age concept. This is a biological cheat code. Your breath is the one and only system in your body that is both autonomic, it runs itself, and voluntary. You can take control of it. It is the bridge between your unconscious and your conscious mind. When the hijack begins, what is the first thing that happens to your breath? It becomes fast and shallow. It is the panic breath designed to fuel your muscles for a fight. The moment you consciously take control of your breath, you are sending a direct physiological signal back to your primal alarm. A long, slow, deep exhalation is the biological opposite of a panic breath. A long exhale physically activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the brake pedal. It tells your body, in a language it understands, the danger has passed. You are safe. You can stand down. It is the all-clear signal to your amygdala. This is your first move. This is the new script. The moment you feel the spark, the heat in your face, the tension in your chest, the twist in your stomach, your one and only job is to change your breathing. Do not think about a clever reply. Do not think about what to do. Do not think at all. Breathe. Specifically, you will use a box breath or a simple extended exhale. Inhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, and now exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do it again. Inhale, exhale, longer than you inhaled. In the 5 seconds it takes to do this once, you have just done the impossible. You have broken the circuit. You have inserted a pause. You have stopped the runaway train of reaction. You have held the bullet in midair. This is the creation of the space. This simple, physical act is your primary weapon. It must be practiced. You must do it when you are not angry. Practice it at a red light. Practice it before you open your email in the morning. Practice it right now. You must build the muscle memory so that when the alarm bells are ringing, your body's new, trained reaction is not to fight, but to breathe. The second tool is movement. Your body is flooded with adrenaline. It is screaming, move, fight, run. The worst possible thing you can do is sit there vibrating with that toxic energy and try to type an email. You must obey the body's command, but you must redirect it. If you are in a situation where you can, move. Get up from your desk, walk to the bathroom, splash cold water on your face, walk outside for 60 seconds. This physical act does 2 things. 1, it gives the adrenaline a job. It gives it a place to go. You are literally walking off the fight response. 2, it physically changes the stimulus. By leaving the room, you have removed yourself from the trigger. The lion is no longer in front of you. This gives your amygdala more proof that the immediate threat is over. If you are in a meeting and cannot leave, the movement must be smaller, but it must still happen. Unclench your jaw. This is a massive one. You are holding a fight posture in your face. Consciously release it. Roll your shoulders back and down. This is the opposite of the threat posture, which is to hunch and protect your neck. Press your feet flat into the floor. Feel the ground. This grounds you. It pulls your awareness out of the chaotic story in your head and into the physical, stable reality of the room. These small physical acts are circuit breakers. They are you, the master, taking the controls of the body away from the panicking, primal alarm. You breathe, you move. The third tool is naming. We are still in the space. We have used our breath and our body to create a precious 3 or 4 seconds. Now, what do we do in this new, silent space? We name the feeling. You must become a detective. You must look at the emotion and label it, as if you are a scientist observing a specimen. You do this in your mind, and you use a simple script. I am noticing a feeling of. I am noticing a feeling of anger. I am noticing a feeling of shame. I am noticing a feeling of fear. I am noticing that I feel disrespected. This is not I am angry. That is an identity. That is fusion. It is I am noticing a feeling of anger. This is an observation. This is separation. This simple act of neurolinguistic labeling is profoundly powerful. The moment you name the emotion, you are activating your prefrontal cortex. You are engaging the thinking brain to observe the feeling brain. You have just moved from being in the fire to being the observer of the fire. You cannot be both the victim of the emotion and the observer of it at the same time. The moment you become the observer, you are, by definition, no longer the victim. You have stepped out. You are now in the control room looking at the alarm on a screen rather than being trapped in the burning building. This is the entire game. Breathe, move, name. This 3-step process is the mechanics of the pause. It is the practical, step-by-step assembly of the space between. This is not going to be easy. The first time you try this, you will fail. You will remember to breathe after you have already sent the email. You will remember to name it an hour after the argument. This is normal. This is part of the process. Your reactive habit is a superhighway. It is a deep 8-lane groove of neural pathways that you have been paving for decades. Your new responsive habit is a tiny footpath in a dense jungle. It is difficult. It is covered in vines. It is slow. Your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to practice. Every time you fail and you wake up later, that is a win. The fact that you even realized you were hijacked is a sign of your growing awareness. That is your observer self getting stronger. Your goal is to shorten the time between the hijack and the awareness. First, you will notice it a day later. Then you will notice it an hour later. Then you will catch yourself in the middle of the reaction. You will be mid-sentence and you will suddenly wake up. This is a monumental victory. You will feel the urge to stop even if you don't. Then you will catch it right after the spark, but before you act. You will feel the heat and you will, for the first time, breathe. And then, one day, you will see the spark coming. You will see the person's face change, you will read the first line of the email, and you will feel nothing. Not nothing, but space. You will feel the spark, but it will be small, distant, and you will feel simultaneously the vast, quiet, powerful space around it. And in that space, you will hear a new voice, not the primal scream of "fight." You will hear the quiet, calm, powerful voice of your higher self, and it will simply ask, "What is the wisest move here?" That is the beginning of your freedom. You have done it. You have created the space. The trigger has fired. The stimulus has struck. And instead of exploding, you have deployed the tools. You have breathed. You have anchored yourself. You have, for the first time, held the full, crushing weight of the emotional wave, and you have not been swept away. You are now standing in the quiet, pressurized center of the storm, and you have 3, maybe 5 seconds of new, precious time. What now? This is the moment where most people fail, even after creating the pause. They use this space to do one of 2 things, both of them fatal to growth. They either suppress the feeling, they grit their teeth, shove the emotion into a dark closet, and pretend it isn't there, knowing it will only fester and come back stronger. Or they negotiate with the feeling. They immediately start to logic their way out of it. I shouldn't be angry. This is silly. I should be calm. This is just another form of self-judgment, a more civilized, intellectual war against yourself. Both of these are forms of resistance, and what you resist persists. We are not here to resist the feeling. We are not here to suppress it, and we are certainly not here to judge it. We are here to interrogate it. This is the craft of the emotional detective. We have created the space, and now, inside that space, we are going to turn on a single, bright, focused light and investigate. The first rule of this investigation is a truth you must accept. The first feeling you feel is almost never the real feeling. The emotion that shows up in the hijack, the anger, the irritation, the frustration, the jealousy, is a symptom. It is the visible, noisy, distracting surface emotion. It is a bodyguard. It is a hard, protective, and often aggressive shield emotion, sent out by your psyche to protect something much softer, much more vulnerable, and much more real that is hiding behind it. Your reactivity, your anger, your defensiveness, it is a lie. A well-intentioned lie, but a lie nonetheless. It is a mask, worn by your truer, deeper feelings. Our job is to calmly and without judgment look the bodyguard in the eye and ask to speak to the person it is protecting. The investigation begins with a single, powerful question. You are in the space. You have named the surface emotion, as we practiced. I am noticing a feeling of anger. Now you go deeper. You ask, what is this emotion protecting? This question is the key that turns the lock. This is the moment you stop being the victim of the feeling and start being the analyst of it. Let's look at the primary culprit, anger. Anger is the most common and most respected of all the shield emotions. It feels powerful, it feels active, it gives you a sense of control and righteousness. But anger is almost never the root. Anger is the bouncer at the door of a club. It is loud, it is intimidating, and its only job is to keep you from seeing what is inside. What is inside? What is your anger protecting? 9 times out of 10, your anger is protecting fear. You are angry at your boss for putting you on a new project. Is it anger, or is it a deep, profound fear of failure? A fear that you are not good enough, that you will be exposed as an imposter. You are angry at your spouse for being distant. Is it anger, or is it the cold, terrifying fear of abandonment? The fear that they are slipping away, that you are no longer wanted, that you will be left alone. You are angry at the news, at the world. Is it anger, or is it a bone-deep fear of chaos? A feeling of powerlessness in the face of a world you cannot control. Anger is fear's armor. It is the desperate, outward expression of an internal terror. Sometimes your anger is protecting shame. Someone insults you, they criticize your appearance or your intelligence. That hot, red flash of anger is not anger at them. It is a shield thrown up instantly to protect you from the crushing, unbearable feeling of shame. It is the defense against the internal whisper that says, "They are right, I am not good enough, I am unlovable." You externalize the rage. How dare you? Because it is infinitely less painful than to internalize the shame. What if I am what you say I am? Sometimes your anger is protecting sadness and grief. A loved one is sick. A project you poured your life into has failed. The loss is immense. But to feel that sadness, to feel that grief, is to feel a vulnerability that seems like it could drown you. So, what do? You get angry at the doctors. You get angry at the market. You get angry at your team. You have replaced the weak emotion of sadness with the strong emotion of anger. It is a simple, primitive transaction, but it is a false one. This is the interrogation. The work is to see the anger rise, to breathe, and in that pause, to ask, "Hello, anger. I see you. You are a good bodyguard, but who are you protecting right now? Are you protecting my fear? Are you protecting my shame? Are you protecting my sadness?" The moment you identify the true, vulnerable feeling beneath, the anger's job is over. The bodyguard can stand down, the shield can be lowered, because now you can address the actual problem. You cannot fix anger, but you can address fear. You can soothe shame. You can process grief. When you act from the root emotion, your entire life changes. Acting from anger makes you send the email that gets you fired. Acting from fear makes you ask for help, double-check your work, and prepare more diligently. Acting from anger makes you yell at your partner and push them away. Acting from fear of abandonment makes you say, "I feel a distance between us, and it scares me. Can we talk?" Do you see the difference? The first is a reaction. The second is a conscious, vulnerable, and profoundly powerful response. This interrogation applies to all the shield emotions. What about judgment and contempt? The moment you find yourself looking at someone else and thinking, "What an idiot, how lazy, they are so less," that is a shield. That is your ego, in a moment of its own insecurity, building a temporary, false throne of superiority. The interrogation must be swift. I am noticing a feeling of contempt. Ask the question, what is this protecting? It is protecting your own insecurity. It is protecting your fear that you are not smart enough, that you are not working hard enough. By tearing them down in your mind, you give yourself a momentary, toxic lift. The truly confident person feels no need to judge. They are not threatened. The person who is constantly judging others is screaming to the world, "I am terrified of my own inadequacy." What about jealousy? You see someone with a life you want, a success you crave. You feel that sick, green twist of jealousy and envy. This is a shield. What is it protecting? It is protecting your feeling of personal scarcity. It is a defense against the belief that their success means there is less for me. It is a defense against your own inaction. It is easier to be jealous of their results than it is to be honest about your own lack of discipline. When you interrogate jealousy, you find it is a mask for your own squandered potential. It is a sign not that they are lucky, but that you are not living in alignment with your own goals. This is the work. This is the great excavation. You are digging, in real time, beneath the pavement of your personality to find the pipes and the wiring underneath. The stimulus happens. You create the space, Chapter 4. And now you use that space to become a forensic analyst of your own soul, Chapter 5. The script is simple. Notice the feeling. I am noticing. Anger, judgment, anxiety, etc. Do not act on it. Do not feed it. Do not fight it. Just observe it with cool, detached curiosity. Ask the question, what is this protecting? Follow the trail. It is protecting my fear. What fear? The fear of being seen as incompetent. Why does that scare me? Because I have based my entire identity on being the smart one. Ah, there it is. You have just, in the span of 5 seconds, conducted a therapy session on yourself. You have uncovered the true trigger. The trigger was not your colleague's comment. The trigger was the threat to your identity. You are no longer solving the wrong problem. You are no longer trying to win the argument with your colleague. You are now addressing the real issue. Why is my identity so fragile that one comment can shatter it? This is the beginning of true, deep internal work. This is the power of not reacting. It is not about becoming a zombie. It is about becoming a detective. It is about refusing to be lied to, especially by yourself. Your surface emotions are just symptoms. Your anger, your frustration, they are the smoke. A reactive person spends their whole life fighting the smoke. You are now learning to look for the fire. Do not be afraid of what you find. The fear, the shame, the sadness, the inadequacy, these are not your enemies. They are your teachers. They are the wounded parts of you, calling out for attention, for help. And for the first time in your life, you are finally learning how to listen. Nothing that happens to you has any meaning. Let that sink in. The events of your life, the criticism from your boss, the unreturned text message from a friend, the sudden unexpected failure, are in their raw form completely neutral. They are empty data. They are a blank screen. They are not good or bad. They simply are. The bad part, the good part, the meaning, that is all you. That is the story you write. And you write it so fast, so unconsciously, that you believe the story is the event. You believe your interpretation is the truth. This is the single most powerful and most dangerous cognitive habit you have. You are not reacting to the event. You are not even reacting to the feeling the event triggered. You are reacting to the 2-second, instantaneous, and completely unexamined story you told yourself about what that event means. This is the central engine of your reactivity. The event is the spark. The story is the gasoline. And the emotional hijack is the explosion. In the last chapter, we became the detective. We learned to find the true feeling. This isn't anger, it's fear. Now we must ask the next and most crucial question. What story am I telling myself right now that is manufacturing this fear? Because feelings do not come from nowhere. Feelings are the physical, bodily consequence of a thought. They are the downstream effect of an interpretation. You must see this connection, or you will remain a prisoner. Event, stimulus, story, interpretation, feeling, emotion, action, reaction. You have been spending your entire life trying to manage your feelings and control your actions. You have been fighting the battle at the very end of the chain when it is already too late. We are here to win the war at the source. We are going to the root. We are going to the place where the meaning is made. You have been, up to this point, an unconscious author. You have been letting your past wounds, your deepest insecurities, and your most primitive fears hold the pen. And they are terrible authors. They only know how to write one kind of story, a tragedy, a horror story, a story of personal attack and inevitable failure. Today, you become a conscious author. You become the architect of the narrative. You seize the pen. Let's see this in action. Event. You are in a meeting. You present an idea. A colleague, let's call him Mark, says, "I just don't see how that's practical. It seems like a waste of resources." This is neutral data. It is a collection of sounds. Unconscious story. The first lazy draft. Mark is trying to humiliate me. He made me look like an idiot in front of the team. He's attacking my competence. My boss is watching. She's going to think I'm a fool. I'm in danger. This is an attack. This story is written in half a second. It is written by your ego and your primal alarm. Feeling. The result of this story. Shame, anger, fear, defensiveness. Action, the inevitable reaction. Well, Mark, if you had actually read the brief, you would understand. Or you go silent, withdraw, and seethe for the rest of the day. You have just let Mark and your own unexamined story about Mark dictate your entire emotional state and your professional reputation. Now, let's replay this scene. But this time, the architect is at the table. Event. Mark says, "I just don't see how that's practical. It seems like a waste of resources." The pause. Chapter 4. You feel the hot flash. You breathe. You create the space. Interrogation. Chapter 5. I am noticing anger. What is this protecting? It is protecting my fear. The fear of being seen as incompetent. The architect. Chapter 6. You now ask the critical question. What is the story I am telling myself that is creating this fear? The story is, Mark is attacking me and this proves I am incompetent. This is where the true work begins. You must, in your mind, in that sliver of space, challenge that story. You must treat it as a hypothesis, not as a fact. This is the act of cognitive reframing. You will put that first lazy story on trial, and you will be a ruthless prosecutor. Question 1. Is this story 100% factually true? Is it a fact that Mark is trying to humiliate you? Or is it an interpretation? Can you read his mind? No. The story is an assumption. It is not a fact. Question 2. Is this the only possible interpretation? Your first story is always the least charitable and the most self-centered. It assumes the entire universe revolves around you, that everyone's actions are a direct comment on you. The job of the architect is to, as quickly as possible, generate 3 other possible, plausible stories. Story B. Mark is under immense pressure from his own boss to cut costs. He sees everything as a waste of resources today. It has nothing to do with you. It is about his stress. Story C. Mark is actually a numbers person. He is not attacking your idea. He is confused by it. His brain is wired to see practical, bottom-line data, and you presented a creative, abstract concept. He is not attacking. He is asking for a translation. Story D. Mark is intimidated by you. Your idea is good, too good, and it makes his work look average. His comment is not an attack. It is a desperate, clumsy act of self-preservation from his own insecurity. You do not need to know which of these stories is true. The point is that you have just demonstrated that your first story, the one that caused your emotional hijack, is only one of 4 or 4,000 possibilities. You have just diluted the poison. You have moved from a place of false, negative certainty, I am being attacked, to a place of cool, conscious ambiguity, I do not have enough data. And from a place of ambiguity, you cannot have a hijack. The architect does not respond to the first lazy story. The architect waits for more data. So, what is your response now? Instead of the reactive, "Well, Mark," you, the architect, choose a new path. If you believe story C, he is confused, your response is, "That's a fair question, Mark. Let me walk you through the budget breakdown and the ROI I've projected. The primary resource is." If you believe story B, he is stressed. "I hear the concern for resources. That's the biggest hurdle. After this meeting, I'd love to show you how this could actually save resources in Q3. Do you see what has happened? You have not suppressed your emotion. You have transcended it. You have used it as a signal, followed it to the root story, and rewritten the story in real time to produce a more effective, powerful, and conscious outcome. This is not toxic positivity. This is not lying to yourself and pretending Mark's comment didn't sting. It did. This is cognitive discipline. It is the difference between letting your mind run you and you running your mind. This is the skill you must practice. Every time you are triggered, you must see it as an opportunity to build this muscle. The trigger is the event. The feeling is the signal. The story is the target. You must become ruthless at dismantling your own toxic narratives. We all have them. They are our go-to stories. I am not respected. I am always left out. People will always abandon me. I am an imposter. The world is against me. These are the grooves worn into your brain by past experience. And your mind, seeking to be efficient, will try to fit every new, neutral event into one of these old, painful stories. The unreturned text message? It fits perfectly into your "I am always abandoned" story. The criticism from your boss? It slides right into your "I am an imposter" narrative. You must stop this. You must become the gatekeeper of your own mind. When the event happens and the old story offers itself up to you on a silver platter, you must have the discipline to say, "No. That is a lazy story. That is a story from my past. It is not a story I am going to write today." You are the author. You are the architect. You are the one who decides what it all means. This is the most terrifying responsibility you will ever have, because it removes all of your excuses. You can no longer blame Mark. You can no longer blame your boss. You can no longer blame the world. Their actions are their own. Your reaction, the story you write about it, and the feeling that story produces is 100% yours. Seize the pen. Stop being a character in a story written by your fears. Become the author. How strong are you? Not your body, your mind. How much pressure can you withstand before you crack? The work we have done so far, creating the pause, interrogating the feeling, rewriting the narrative, is all defensive. It is what you do in the moment of an attack. It is the martial art. It is the parry, the block, and the counter. But a life spent only on defense is exhausting. It is a life of constant vigilance, waiting for the next trigger, hoping you are fast enough to catch it. This is not enough. You do not build a warrior's strength during the battle. You build it in the months and years before. The battle is merely the test. This chapter is the training ground. It is the forge. We are shifting from the reactive work of defense to the proactive work of building. We are here to construct, piece by piece, a fundamental, unshakable internal resilience. We are here to forge the shield. This is not a passive state. Emotional resilience is not something you find or discover. It is something you build. It is a daily, disciplined, and active practice. It is the most important project of your life. This shield is not a wall. A wall is brittle. A wall is unfeeling. A wall is built to keep a world out. A shield is dynamic. It is strong but flexible. It is designed to be carried into the world. It allows you to engage with life, to feel its full intensity, but to remain protected. It deflects what is harmful and absorbs what is useful. The strength of this shield is determined by one thing and one thing only: your daily choices. Your resilience is not forged in the fire of an argument. It is forged in the quiet, mundane moments of your Tuesday morning. It is forged when you decide what to eat, when to sleep, and whether to move your body. We must, therefore, begin with the most overlooked truth of emotional stability. The body is the shield. You are not a brain floating in a jar. You are a complete, integrated, biological system. Your mind and your body are not two different things. They are two reflections of the same unified self. You cannot have a strong mind in a weak body. You cannot have a calm mind in a stressed, inflamed, and exhausted body. Your attempts to logic your way to calm will always fail if your underlying biology is in a state of chronic alarm. Let's build the physical foundation first. The first plank of the shield is sleep. You are treating sleep as a luxury, a negotiable item on your to-do list. You trade it away for one more hour of work, one more episode, one more scroll through the void. This is an act of profound self-sabotage. Sleep is not rest. It is repair. It is the most active and critical high-performance state you have. When you sleep, your brain is a maintenance crew. It is clearing out toxic proteins, it is consolidating memories, it is repairing damaged neural pathways. Most importantly, it is restoring your prefrontal cortex. A sleep-deprived brain is a reactive brain. A 2007 study at UC Berkeley found that a single night of sleep deprivation makes the amygdala, your primal alarm, over 60% more reactive to negative stimuli. This means your trigger is 60% lighter. The threshold for your hijack is, quite literally, on the floor. At the same time, the connection between your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex, the logical CEO, is severed. You are, by skipping sleep, voluntarily putting yourself into a state of emotional impairment. You are chemically identical to a person who is constantly hijacked. Your patience is gone, your creativity is gone, your capacity for complex thought is gone. You are a raw, exposed nerve. You cannot will yourself to be patient when you are exhausted. Your brain chemistry will not allow it. Forging the shield means you respect this. It means you treat your 8 hours of sleep as the most important, non-negotiable meeting of your day. It is the foundation. Without it, the rest of this work is impossible. The second plank is fuel. Your brain is a physical organ. It weighs 3 pounds and it consumes 20% of your body's total energy. It runs on what you feed it. You would not put cheap, dirty, unfiltered gasoline in a high-performance engine. So why do you do it to the most complex machine in the known universe? You are living on stimulants and sugar. You are on a roller coaster of energy, a constant cycle of spike and crash. That crash, the 3 p.m. slump, the feeling of being hangry, is not just a physical inconvenience, it is a biological threat. Your primal brain does not understand "I skipped lunch." It understands "my energy is crashing, we are starving, this is a survival crisis." And what happens in a survival crisis? The primal alarm is pulled, the hijack begins. In that state, a trivial email, a simple question from your child, it is not a question, it is an attack. It is the final straw on a system that is already screaming danger. A diet high in processed foods and sugar creates a body in a state of chronic inflammation. And inflammation in the body creates inflammation in the mind. It fogs your prefrontal cortex. It creates a baseline of anxiety, of dis-ease. Forging the shield means you eat like an adult. It means you eat to perform. It means you choose clean, whole, real foods that provide a stable, slow-release energy. You are not dieting. You are fueling the command center. A stable blood sugar is a stable mind. The third plank is movement. This is the most direct tool of all. Your body is designed to move. In a state of hijack, it is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline, the fight or flight chemicals. It is screaming at you to do something. In our modern lives, we do nothing. We sit at our desks, we sit in our cars, and we let that toxic, corrosive cocktail of chemicals simply soak in our system with no release. Purposeful, disciplined exercise is that release. It is a dress rehearsal for stress. When you lift a heavy weight or you push yourself to run that final mile, you are voluntarily putting your body into a state of high stress. Your heart hammers, your breathing is ragged, your muscles burn. And what does your mind learn? It learns, I can feel this intense, overwhelming full-body sensation, and I am not in danger. It learns to be the calm, conscious observer of its own intense physical state. It learns to tolerate discomfort. You are teaching your nervous system by choice that this feeling will not kill me. You are, in effect, stress inoculating yourself. You are giving that fight or flight energy a productive job. You are metabolizing the cortisol. You are burning off the adrenaline in a controlled, safe environment. A person who trains their body every day is not just getting in shape. They are conducting a daily exorcism of their own reactive energy. They are building in their muscles and in their mind the capacity to withstand pressure. Do not miss this. This physical foundation is 80% of the work. You can do all the mental reframing in the world, but if you are sleep-deprived, badly fueled, and sedentary, you will fail when the pressure hits. Now, we move to the mental forge. We must practice deliberate discomfort. You have built a life that is, by historical standards, absurdly comfortable. Your room is the perfect temperature. Your food is instant. Your entertainment is on demand. You have engineered every possible piece of friction and discomfort out of your life. And it has made you soft. It has made your mind brittle. Your window of tolerance for any discomfort, physical, emotional, or psychological, has shrunk to almost zero. The moment you feel the slightest pinprick of discomfort, boredom, hunger, a difficult conversation, you run, you numb, you distract. We must reverse this. We must, on purpose, introduce small, controlled doses of discomfort back into our lives. This is the fastest way to build mental toughness. Take a cold shower. For 30 seconds, turn the water as cold as it will go and breathe. Your primal alarm will scream, threat, danger, get out. And you will stand there. You will control your breath. You will be the master. You will teach your body that it does not give the orders. You do. Practice fasting. Skip a meal. Willingly feel the signals of hunger. Observe them and let them pass. Realize that a hunger pang is not an emergency. It is just a sensation. Practice boredom. Sit in a chair for 10 minutes. No phone, no book, no music. Just sit. Feel the agonizing, screaming itch of your mind to be distracted, and do not give in. These small, voluntary acts of no are expanding your power. You are forging the shield by proving to yourself over and over that you can tolerate a negative sensation without reacting to it. You are building the muscle that says, I feel this, and I choose not to move. Finally, we must train the sentinel. Your observer self, the part of you that is aware of your thoughts, is the sentinel. It is the watchman on the wall. But your watchman is weak. He is asleep at his post. We must train him. The gym for this is mindfulness. This is not a passive, blissful act. This is active training. It is the most rigorous, high-intensity workout for your brain. Your set is this. You will sit and focus on one thing: your breath, the sound of a fan, a single point on the wall. The rep is this. Inevitably, your mind will be dragged away by a thought, a feeling, an itch. The moment you realize you have been dragged away, and you gently, firmly, and without judgment bring your attention back, that is the rep. That is the entire practice. The wandering is not a failure. It is the opportunity for the rep. Every time you do this, you are strengthening the neural pathway of conscious, deliberate focus. You are training the observer self to be stronger than the impulsive self. You are building the exact, specific mental muscle you need in a crisis. The trigger is the wandering thought. Your ability to bring it back is the pause. A person who practices this daily is no longer at the mercy of their own mind. They are the master of it. This is the work. It is not glamorous. It is not a one-time fix. It is the daily, humble, and disciplined work of forging the shield. It is the choice to sleep, the choice to eat well, the choice to move, the choice to embrace discomfort, the choice to train your mind. This is the price of not reacting. You pay it before the crisis so that during the crisis, you are the calmest, strongest, and most centered person in the room. You do not hope you will be resilient. You build yourself to be. The training is over. You have done the work. You have practiced the pause. You have interrogated your feelings and found the root. You have become the architect of your own narrative. You have begun the daily, disciplined work of forging your physical and mental shield. You have trained in the safety of your own mind. You have practiced on the small, trivial annoyances of your day. Now we walk into the fire. This is the crucible. This is the place where your new self is tested by the most volatile, unpredictable, and powerful force you will ever face: other people. Interpersonal conflict, the argument, the personal attack, the criticism, the manipulation. This is the final exam. This is the arena where all your old, reactive, primal programming is strongest. This is where your ego lives, and it is where it is most desperate to be defended. All the work we have done has been to prepare you for this. To be calm in the crucible is to achieve true mastery. The rules of engagement change here. When you are alone, you are only managing your own internal state. When you are with another person, you are managing two internal states. You are managing your own hijack, and you are managing the hijack of the person standing in front of you. They are almost certainly unconscious. They are a marionette, just as you once were. They are a slave to their primal alarm, a victim of their unexamined stories. This is the first and most critical strategic truth of the crucible. You are the only conscious person in the room. You cannot expect them to be rational. You cannot expect them to be fair. You cannot expect them to have read this audiobook. You must, as an act of strategy, accept that they are living in a deep reactive fog. This is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of compassion, and it is an act of profound tactical advantage. If they are unconscious and you are conscious, who has the power? The person who controls their emotional state controls the entire dynamic. The person who sets the tone wins the engagement. Your goal is not to win the argument. Your goal is not to beat them. That is the old, reactive, ego-driven script. Your new, conscious goal is threefold: to remain in control of yourself, the shield; to understand the true nature of the conflict, the detective; to guide the interaction to a constructive or neutral outcome, the architect. This is the new definition of winning. So let's build the advanced toolkit for the crucible. Technique 1, the emotional decoupling. The moment the attack comes, the raised voice, the pointed finger, the critical email, your primal alarm will fire. This is inevitable. But your response to that alarm is what matters. Their energy is a hook. They are angry, and they are, on a subconscious level, trying to make you angry. They are trying to pull you into their hijack. It is an unconscious invitation. Come into the fire with me. Let's both be out of control. A reactive person accepts the hook. They match energy. They escalate. You must perform an emotional decoupling. This is a conscious choice made in the space between to not absorb their emotional state. You must, in your mind, create a clean separation between their feeling and your feeling. They are broadcasting anger. You do not have to tune in. You will use a mental model. Visualize their emotion, the anger, the panic, the criticism, as a physical object. It is a black cloud. It is a red-hot stone. It is a stream of dirty water. It is leaving their body and coming towards you. In your mind, you must see yourself deflecting it, not absorbing it, not catching it. You are a shield. You are a clear, hard surface. The hot stone hits your shield and it clatters uselessly to the ground between you. You acknowledge it, but you do not take it on. This is an internal visualization. Outwardly, what does it look like? It looks like silence. It looks like a calm, neutral facial expression. It looks like continued, steady breathing. You do not immediately defend. You do not immediately attack. You give them nothing to hook into. This in itself is a pattern interrupt. The other person on an animal level expects a reaction. They are primed for a fight. When you give them calm, you give them nothing. It is disarming. You have decoupled. You have refused to join their hijack. You have maintained your shield. Technique 2, the compassionate interrogation. Now that you are safe behind your shield, you are not being attacked. You are being given data. This is the great reframe. This person is not attacking you, they are confessing to you. Their anger, as we learned in Chapter 5, is a shield. It is protecting their fear, their shame, their insecurity. You are no longer an opponent in a fight. You are a detective, and this is your star witness. They are telling you, in their own clumsy, hijacked way, exactly where they are wounded. This is where you deploy the compassionate interrogation. You must use your words to get beneath their surface reaction. You are going to use X-ray questions. The most powerful question in any conflict is, what is this really about? Or some variation. I can hear how angry you are. I want to understand what's underneath that. Help me understand what you're afraid is going to happen here. What part of this feels the most unfair to you? Notice what these questions do. They are not defensive. They do not say, I didn't do it, or that's not true. They are curious. They are disarming. They are an invitation, not a counterattack. You are, in effect, doing for them what you have learned to do for yourself. You are helping them find the root feeling behind their shield emotion. This is the highest form of mastery. You are not just managing your own internal state. You are becoming the thermostat for the entire room. You are, with your calm and your curiosity, de-escalating them. Sometimes the person is too hijacked. They will respond to your calm question with more anger. What's it really about? It's about you. This is fine. This is just more data. You hold the shield, you decouple, and you reflect. Technique 3. The reflective mirror. When a person is in a full hijack, they cannot be reasoned with. You cannot logic them out of it. It is a waste of your time. Your only job at this stage is to de-escalate. The fastest way to de-escalate a hijacked person is to make them feel heard. This is not the same as agreeing with them. This is the mistake everyone makes. They think, if I validate their feeling, I am admitting that I am wrong. No, you are simply validating their experience of the feeling. You will use the reflective mirror technique. This is where you, calmly, repeat their own words or feelings back to them. Them? You never listen to me, you always interrupt, and you just don't care about my opinion. The reactive you. That is not true. I always listen. You're the one who... This is a disaster. You are now fighting. The masterful you. Shield up. Decoupled. You take a breath. So, what I am hearing you say is that you feel like you are not being heard and that you feel I don't care about your opinion? That's it. You have not agreed. You have not disagreed. You have not defended. You have not apologized. You have simply held up a perfect, clean mirror to their statement. What happens on their side of the table is magic. Their primal alarm, which is screaming, I am not being heard, I am in danger, suddenly hears itself. The brain gets a signal, message received, and the volume of the alarm goes down by 20%. They will say, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. And you will see their shoulders drop, their breathing will slow. You have just, with no cost to yourself, begun to defuse the bomb. You can do this all day. Them, this is a complete disaster. The whole project is ruined. You feel the project is ruined. Them, yes, because. And you just let them talk. You are an emotional sponge, but one with a shield. The emotion hits you, you name it. I see you feel this is a disaster, and you hand it back to them clean. This is not passive. This is the most active and most dominant form of listening. Technique 4. Setting the boundary, the calm no. Sometimes de-escalation is not the point. Sometimes you are dealing with a bully, a manipulator, or a person who is simply abusive. In these cases, your curiosity and your reflective listening will be seen as weakness. They will not de-escalate. They will escalate because they enjoy the power. This is where your shield must become a wall. This is where you must set a hard, clean verbal boundary. This is the calm no. A boundary is not a request. It is not a negotiation. It is a statement of what you will and will not tolerate. It is not delivered with anger. An angry boundary is not a boundary. It is a tantrum. It is not delivered with defensiveness. A defensive boundary is not a boundary. It is a plea. It must be delivered with the calm, flat, unshakable energy of a mountain. It must be a fact. Them. You are an idiot. You are incompetent. I can't believe. You. Breathe. Shield up. Decouple. I will not be spoken to this way. Not, don't you dare talk to me like that. That is an angry reaction. Not, please don't yell at me, it's not fair. That is a plea. Just the fact, I will not be spoken to this way. Them, I don't care what you will or won't. You, I am ending this conversation now. We can try again when you are able to speak to me respectfully. And then you move. You hang up the phone. You walk out of the room. You close the laptop. This is the ultimate act of not reacting. You have refused to participate in the abuse. You have not absorbed their poison, and you have not returned it. You have simply left the field. This is the highest expression of self-respect. It teaches people with absolute clarity what the price of admission is to be in your presence. This is your crucible. This is your new art form. It is the dance of decoupling, interrogating, reflecting, and, when necessary, ending the engagement. You are not a victim. You are not a punching bag. And you are not a child. You are the only conscious person in the room. And it is time to act like it. We have come a long way. We have faced the primal alarm. We have counted the cost. We have built the pause. We have become the detective, the architect, and the shield. We have stood unflinching in the crucible of interpersonal conflict. We have learned to face the anger, the criticism, and the manipulation of others. And now we come to the final and most difficult battle. We come to the one enemy you can never walk away from, the one voice you can never silence, the one attacker who knows all of your weaknesses, because they are you. We are here to face the war within. You have spent your life in a state of civil war, a brutal, grinding, and exhausting conflict between the part of you that wants to grow and the part of you that wants to self-destruct. The conflict is not with your boss. It is not with your partner. It is not with the world. The most difficult and most damaging reactions you have are not to external triggers. They are to internal ones. They are your reactions to your own thoughts, your own feelings, and your own memories. You are the one who is hijacking you. This is the source of all self-sabotage. This is the root of your anxiety, your perfectionism, your imposter syndrome, and your deepest, most crippling self-criticism. The world does not need to attack you. You do it for them, and you do it far more effectively. There is, inside your mind, a voice. We all have it. Let us call it the inner critic. It is the narrator of your life, and it is a terrible, cruel, and relentlessly negative narrator. It is the voice that wakes you up at 3 a.m., not with new ideas, but with a perfectly curated playlist of your greatest failures. It is the voice that, in your moment of greatest success, leans in and whispers, "You are a fraud. You fooled them. Any second now, they're going to find you out." It is the voice that takes a 99% success and focuses with laser-like precision on the 1% failure. And you react to this voice as if it is the absolute, unimpeachable truth. This is the final and most important hijack we must dismantle. You are reacting to a thought as if it is a threat. When the critic says you are a fraud, your primal alarm fires. Your amygdala does not know the difference between an external attacker saying, "You are incompetent," and an internal thought saying, "You are incompetent." It treats both as a mortal threat. And what is your reaction? You get defensive, even against yourself. You work yourself to the point of burnout, desperately trying to prove to the internal voice that it is wrong. You procrastinate. You freeze, because the fear of that voice's "I told you so" is so great that it is safer to not even try. You become a perfectionist, which is not, as you like to tell yourself, a high standard. It is a debilitating, obsessive-compulsive attempt to create a life so flawless that the critic can find no crack to get in. It is a losing battle. You are fighting a ghost, and you are losing. Today, we stop fighting, we stop reacting, and we learn for the first time how to unhook. The relationship you have with your own mind is, right now, one of fusion. You believe you are your thoughts. You believe you are your feelings. When the thought, "I am a failure," passes through your mind, you do not observe it. You become it. You fuse with it. You inhabit it. The power of not reacting internally is the power of cognitive diffusion. It is the single greatest psychological skill you can acquire. It is the ability to separate from your own internal dialogue. It is the ability to treat your thoughts as just thoughts, not as threats, not as commands, not as truths, just as data, as noise, as weather. You are not the storm. You are the sky. Let's build the tools. How do we do this? Technique 1. I am having the thought that. This is the most practical tool in your new arsenal. It is a simple linguistic trick that will, with practice, rewire your entire brain. The critic's voice appears. You are going to fail. You are not smart enough for this. You are fused. You feel it in your stomach. It is a truth. Now you will take that thought and you will, in your mind, rephrase it. You will preface it with one simple, magical phrase. I am having the thought that. So, you are going to fail becomes, I am having the thought that I am going to fail. Read that again. Feel the difference. I am going to fail is a fact. It is a prophecy. It is an identity. I am having the thought that I am going to fail is an observation. It is a report on a passing neurological event. You have just, with one simple phrase, done the impossible. You have created a space between you, the observer, and the thought. You have defused. You are no longer in the fire. You are standing outside watching it. Practice this all day. I am having the thought that I am too tired. I am having the thought that this is pointless. I am having the thought that that person is angry with me. I am having the thought that I am a bad person. The thought is still there. We are not suppressing it. We are not fighting it. We are simply labeling it. We are putting it in a container. We are changing it from a master into a specimen. You are no longer at war with the voice. You are a scientist, curiously observing the voice. Ah, fascinating. There it is again. The "I'm not good enough" thought. It is 3 p.m. It seems to be right on schedule. Technique 2. The name and the story. Your critic is not very creative. It has been telling you the same 5 or 6 stories your entire life. It just repackages them for new situations. We are going to take away its power by making it predictable. Your job is to become a story collector. For 1 week, listen to your critic. Write down the greatest hits. You will find them. The "you are an imposter" story, the "you will be abandoned" story, the "you are not safe" story, the "you are fundamentally flawed" story. Give these stories a name, a ridiculous name if you like. The imposter radio show, the abandonment movie trailer, my everybody sucks playlist. The next time you are in a situation and the imposter syndrome kicks in, you will use your new tool. You will create the space. Ah, I recognize this. This is the imposter radio show playing. It's an old one, but a classic. This does two things. It creates distance and it adds humor. You cannot be hijacked by something you find ridiculous. You cannot be controlled by a story that you have named and cataloged. You are treating your internal monologue not as a divine revelation, but as a boring, predictable, and rather poorly written script that your brain just loves to rerun. You are diffusing by familiarity. Technique 3. The anxiety reframe, from threat to energy. Let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety is the war within made physical. It is the hijack in its purest form. It is the dread, the racing heart, the tight chest, the spiral of what-if thoughts. And what is your reaction to anxiety? You react to the feeling of anxiety with more anxiety. You feel your heart race, and you have the thought, oh no, I'm anxious, this is terrible, what if I have a panic attack, what if it never stops? You have just created a feedback loop from hell. The fear of the feeling is now the fuel that makes the feeling 10 times stronger. You are now anxious about being anxious. We must break this loop. We must stop reacting to the physical sensation of anxiety as if it is a threat. How? By radically reinterpreting it. Anxiety and excitement are, on a physiological level, identical. Read that again. The only two things that separate the physical feeling of terror from the physical feeling of excitement are your breathing, shallow in fear, deep in excitement. Your cognitive label, the story you tell. When you are on a roller coaster, your heart is hammering, your palms are sweaty, you're screaming. But you call it fun. When you are about to go on stage for a big speech, your heart is hammering, your palms are sweaty, and you call it terror. It is the same energy. You have just given it a negative label. From this moment on, you will stop using the word anxiety. You will relabel it. You are not anxious. You are energized. The next time you have a big presentation and you feel that familiar twist, you will stop. You will not say, I am so anxious. You will say, my body is giving me the energy I need to perform. This is my performance fuel. This is what it feels like to be ready. You will take that adrenaline and, instead of seeing it as a poison, you will see it as a superpower. It is rocket fuel, and you can either let it explode on the launch pad, a panic attack, or you can use it to fly. You do this by breathing into it. You do not try to calm down. That is fighting it. You say, okay, heart, race. I feel you. This is energy. Let's use it. You have just stopped reacting to your own body. You have partnered with it. You have taken the same raw biological data and written a new story about it. This is the internal work. It is the most profound and the most personal work you will ever do. It is the work of stopping the civil war. The war ends when you stop showing up for the fight. It ends when you stop believing that the voice in your head is you. You are not the voice. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are the one who hears the voice. You are the one who observes the thoughts. You are the one who feels the feelings. You are the space. You are the awareness. You are the sky. And the critic, the anxiety, the imposter syndrome, it's just weather. You can't win a war against the weather. You can only stop reacting to it. You can stop letting it ruin your day. You can grab your umbrella and you can get on with your life. Your thoughts are not your master. They are just thoughts. And you are, finally, free. What does it mean to be free? We have at last arrived at the destination. And it is here at the end of the journey that we can finally understand the goal. That goal is equanimity. This is the new state. This is the new you. This is the reward for all the work. But we must be precise. This is the most misunderstood concept of all. The word equanimity sounds cold, it sounds passive, it sounds to the uninitiated like a life devoid of passion, of joy, of the very fire that makes us human. This is the final, great lie of the reactive mind. The reactive mind wants you to believe that your chaos is your passion, that your drama is your aliveness, that your uncontrolled, volatile, and painful reactions are just who you are. It will try to convince you that this new, calm center is a form of death, that to be this new, controlled person is to be a robot, a zombie, an empty shell. It is lying to protect itself. Let us define our terms. Equanimity is not apathy. Apathy is a dead, flat, lifeless sea. It is a state of not caring because you are too beaten down, too cynical, or too afraid to feel. Apathy is a fortress, yes, but its walls are built of fear, and it is a prison. Equanimity is a living ocean. On its surface, the winds blow, the storms rage, the waves crash and roar. The world is allowed to happen. The joy is felt. The pain is felt. The success and the failure are all experienced fully with 100% intensity. But the person of equanimity is not just the wave. They are not just the storm-tossed, chaotic surface. They are also the deep. They are the vast, crushing, silent, and powerful stillness that exists just a few feet below the chaos. They are the unmovable, 3-mile-deep column of water that is unaffected by the temporary, noisy weather on top. Their identity is no longer in the wave. It is in the ocean. They can feel the anger, but they are not the anger. They can feel the sadness, but they are not the sadness. They can feel the fear, but they are not the fear. They are the vast, stable, conscious container in which all these temporary weather patterns are allowed to exist, to rage, and ultimately to pass. This is the fortress of equanimity. It is not a wall to keep life out. It is a foundation so deep and so stable that it can withstand the full force of life and not be broken. How did we build this? We built it brick by brick. You did not arrive here by accident. This state is the natural, logical, and inevitable result of the work you have done. We began by seeing the unconscious self, the puppet, moved by invisible forces. We exposed the illusion of control. And in that act of seeing, we took the first step toward actual control. We learned about the primal self, the ancient biological wiring of the hijack. We learned to respect our own animal nature, not as a master, but as a well-meaning but outdated employee. We learned to stop blaming our character for what was, in fact, our biology. We looked unflinchingly at the cost, the bill for our reactivity, paid in the currency of our relationships, our careers, and our self-respect. We built the non-negotiable leverage that made the pain of change preferable to the chronic, dull agony of staying the same. And then the real work began. We became the engineer and we built the pause. We forged in the center of the storm a single, sacred moment of choice. That space, that tiny sliver of time, became the birthplace of your new life. We became the detective. We used that space not to suppress our feelings, but to interrogate them. We learned to look beneath the shield of anger, to find the hidden fear, the hidden shame, the hidden sadness. We became the architect. We seized the pen. We stopped being the victim of the stories our mind told us, and we became the author. We learned to dismantle our own negative narratives and consciously write new ones, based on logic, on charity, and on choice. We became the warrior. We forged the shield. We rebuilt our physical and mental selves through the non-glamorous daily discipline of sleep, of fuel, of movement, and of deliberate, voluntary discomfort. We trained our minds to be stronger than our feelings. We faced the crucible. We took our new skills into the fire of human conflict, and we learned to deflect, to de-escalate, to listen, and to set hard, calm boundaries. Finally, we faced the war within. We turned this entire arsenal of tools inward upon ourselves. We learned to diffuse from our own inner critic, to relabel our anxiety as energy, and to stop reacting to the terrorist who lives in our own head. And now, here you are. You are not the person who started this audiobook. That person is gone. In their place is the person of equanimity. So, what is this life like? What is the view from inside this fortress? It is, in a word, clarity. When your emotional state is no longer fused to the events of the world, you see the world for the first time as it actually is. You are not looking through the red mist of anger. You are not looking through the distorted, funhouse mirror of your own insecurity. You are not looking through the gray fog of anxiety. You are simply seeing. This clarity makes you a masterful decision maker. You are no longer making choices from a place of fear or ego. You are making them from a place of cool, objective reality. You see the entire board. The second quality of this life is integrity. For the first time, your internal self and your external self are in alignment. Your values and your actions are finally one. There is no more, "I promised myself I would be patient, but then I yelled." There is no more, "I know I should be professional, but he made me angry." That gap, that painful hypocrisy is gone. You are now a whole, integrated, solid human being. You say what you mean. You do what you say. This creates a gravity around you. People can feel your solidity. They know you are not a leaf in the wind. They know you are a mountain. The third quality is compassion. This is the most surprising and most beautiful paradox of this journey. By becoming a master of your own internal state, you have become a master of external states. Because you are no longer at war with yourself, you are no longer at war with the world. When you see another person in the grip of a hijack, when you see them raging or lying or being defensive, you no longer feel anger. You no longer feel contempt. You feel recognition. You are no longer reacting to their attack. You are seeing their pain. You see their anger and you know, he is protecting his fear. You see their arrogance and you know, she is protecting her insecurity. You have been there. You have done the work. You know the mechanics. And because you are not hooked by their emotion, you are free, for the first time, to help, to listen, to de-escalate, to be the single, calm, stable point in their storm. This is the core of all leadership, all influence, and all true connection. Finally, the quality of this life is power. Let us be clear. The power of not reacting is the ultimate power. The person who can absorb a personal attack without flinching. The person who can receive catastrophic bad news without panicking. The person who can sit in the center of a chaotic, high-stakes negotiation and be the only one who is truly thinking. That person is the most powerful person in any room. It is a paradox. By giving up your reaction, you gain all the power. By refusing to engage in the petty, moment-to-moment battles of the ego, you win the war. You are no longer playing checkers, reacting to every move. You are playing chess, thinking 10 moves ahead. Your silence becomes more powerful than their noise. Your questions become more effective than their demands. Your calm becomes a weapon, a shield, and a tool of transformation. This is the fortress of equanimity. It is not a place you arrive at and then you are done. This is not a destination. It is a residence. It is a home you have built, and now you must live in it. It must be maintained. The work of self-observation is now your new, permanent, and joyful way of life. The alarms will still fire. The world will still trigger you. Your inner critic will still whisper. But the difference is, you know the way home. The path back to your center is no longer a forgotten, overgrown trail that takes you weeks of regret to find. It is a brightly lit, well-worn superhighway. You can feel the spark, and you can be home in your calm, powerful oceanic center in less than a second. This is your new life, a life where you are no longer a slave to your feelings, but a master of them. A life where you are no longer lived by your circumstances, but where you live consciously and with purpose. You have reclaimed your free will. You have cut the strings. You are not your reaction. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are the stillness. You are the space. You are the deep. You are the architect, the watcher, and the master. The journey is over. The work has just begun. Now go and live.